No, it's just, is that this thing? The big one?
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, this will look like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Super size.
Folks, we are expecting 2 more commissioners, but we're, since we have a quorum and because, everybody's time is precious, I'm going to try to start on time. We have another minute or so, and then we'll open the meeting and get people moving. If a couple of our commissioners are late, hopefully they'll catch up fast.
This one is a.
Oh, the one, yeah.
The other one, that one.
And go look at the side of the hill. She swore they have done the house work. I've never seen anything like it. Really?
We only watched it so many times. It's always.
That's why you don't mind. It's always in any levels. For some reason it wasn't working before. Should be good.
Test 1, 2. Tell me if you got decent audio. Test 1, 2. Do you have good audio on this mic? Testing, does the boom mic give you better audio? Does the boom mic give you better audio? Okay, good. All right, I would like the folks at home to be able to hear. And with that, we're past 7:30. We have a quorum, so I'm going to move to open the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And this is the November 16, 2022 meeting of the Harbor and Coastal Zone Management Commission. If you're watching at home, we should be live on our YouTube channel, on LMC TV, or on Zoom. And if you're here in person, the exits are to either side of the courtroom. If you're watching, thank you for paying attention to village affairs. We have 2 applicant items on for tonight, the first of which is 1310 Flagler Drive. I see the applicant and their team are here. I recognize Mr. Joffrey, if you could take the podium.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Tony Joffrey. I'm the managing partner of Cuddy and Fader law firm in White Plains, New York. It's a pleasure to be back before you in person. It's been a long time since I've been here in person before. I'm here this evening on behalf of the application of David and Bonnie Bluestein, owners of premises located at 1310 Flagler Drive. I'm joined by Robert Keller from Keller Eaton Architects, Louis Fusco Landscape Architects, Michael Stein from Hudson Engineering, and Beth Evans from Evans Associates. We've submitted an application to the planning board for site plan and wetlands permits, and we're here before your commission on a consistency review with the LWRP. The premises consists of approximately 0.8 acres, and the premises is situated in an R20 zoning district and is currently improved with a single-family home, a pool, seawall, patio, and accessory improvements. The premise is situated in a VE flood zone, and a portion of the property is also in the sea, located within the CMOP. There are no DEC regulated tidal wetlands on the site, but the premises is consisted within a wetlands buffer. The proposal that is before the village is to demolish the existing single-family home and construct a new two-story single-family home within the same location, but with a smaller footprint. The proposal, and we've submitted some lengthy materials for your review, demonstrate that we're proposing to reduce the total impervious coverage. Coverage within the C-How will also be reduced, and we're going to be decreasing coverage within the wetlands as well. We are going to be supplementing the proposal and as part of the improvements, which we believe will bring an overall benefit to the site. Will include additional wetland buffer plantings, significant wetland buffer plantings to provide on-site habitat, which will benefit the tidal wetlands. We also have new stormwater management where the current premises has none. I'll have the rest of the consultant team walk you through in more detail the proposal, walk you through the plans.
I didn't mean to interrupt your flow, Mr. Jaffe. I thought I heard you say coverage within the wetlands, and I thought you meant.
Wetland buffer. Thank you. And the proposal will also increase the flood volume storage on the site. The proposal will comply with all local and FEMA residential construction standards, and we're going to walk you through some of the more specifics. But as I know this commission likes, I'd just like to go through the various jurisdictions that are required for this proposal and which are not. We do require DEC permits.
It's like you know us.
We do require a DEC permit, and I'm pleased to advise you that on October 20th, we received a notice of complete application from the DEC. And there are no modifications to the seawall that are proposed as part of this proposal. We do not require Department of State or Army Corps permits or approvals. And we provided previous correspondence to you from SHPO, a June 16th, 22 letter, which states it is the opinion of OPRHP that no properties, including archaeological and or historic resources listed in or eligible for the New York State and National Registers of Historic Places will be impacted by this proposal. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hand the mic over to Mr. Keller as we begin to walk through the specifics of the proposal.
Thank you.
Good evening, Robert Keller, Keller Eaton Architects. Hope you guys are all well. I don't know whether we can pull up some drawings while we're speaking, if that's a possibility that might help us understand the building. The building is complying with all of the FEMA and local requirements. The start of the design was to bring the main living level of the house above the required floodplain line. The lower level, which you probably see in the next drawing coming up, is totally devoted to parking, some storage, outdoor areas. There is no habitable living space other than the foyer itself. The grade plane basically at this level is at 11 feet above sea level. The house is designed, which I think will be clearer when we get to the renderings, to be very open to the water in terms of allowing flow through, open for residents as they're walking around Flavia Drive to see the water. There are flood vents as required, breakaway walls. The building will be sitting on piles. There will be concrete reinforced columns at this level. The water will be able to basically flow through the building if needed in small or large storm. The house main living level, which is the next slide, is about 4 feet above the requirement by the 14 zone. So the residents will be able to shelter in place very easily. There are many terraces and so forth at the back of the building. If there needs to be some sort of outdoor rescue ward. The main living level at that line, the next level up is, I believe, at 30.75 above the grade level. So it's definitely a space that's been designed to allow the residents to be there without having any major issues with the water coming up over the seawall. This level is primarily the living level with kitchen, family room, dining area, and the client's primary bedroom suite. And the next level up is basically the kids' level. Again, at this point, about 30 feet above sea level. Looking at the exterior, I think next is the roof plan, which is probably not very critical for this discussion, but next is the exterior elevations, which might clarify the building itself and also be clear in the rendering. So everything below the main living level is devoted to open air space or, as I had said, garages, storage space, and so forth. The entry foyer. The next level up is the living level, and the top level, which is sort of recessed and different material, is the bedroom level at the very top. We've presented this scheme to the local HOA, and they are actually very excited about it and feel that the house has allowed a design for a building that basically they were expecting to be on stilts to really kind of, feel like it belongs to the neighborhood and sits comfortably on the site.
Now,
And
I didn't mean to interrupt
That's
your
right.
flow. You can go ahead if you want to finish.
no, it's fine.
So, I mean, if I understand what you designed here, everything that's at the 11-foot level is basically sacrificial, right? It's meant to flow through with breakaway walls and venting in case of a severe tidal flooding event or wave event. All of the mechanicals are 20 feet or higher.
That is correct.
The AC, including AC, is all above
Well,
20 feet.
we have the exterior mechanical equipment to the side of the building, which we are putting at a little lower, not at the 20-foot line. We're putting those at the 16-foot.
Okay. Okay, that. My notes about that.
Right, which meets those requirements.
Mr. Chair, can I just ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, if you want, I can wait.
We can, unless it gets confusing, we can trade back and forth. Go ahead.
This is just a background question. You're taking down the structure that's there. What is there? What's is there a slab? What's there? Is there a basement?
The house is currently a one-story ranch, quite spread out. There are some crawl space areas. There's no full basement that I've ever seen. Right. It's quite low to the ground, and actually, in Sandy, for example, it basically flooded very, towards the ceiling.
So what do? You just level it?
You level it, you fill in the grade to become part of the site so that the water can come through.
God, I just didn't understand what was there. I've looked at the stuff.
Exactly. So whenever we do that.
There's no structure that you have to get rid of.
There is the house, and you would
Right,
demolish.
but I'm talking about
You would demolish
foundation?
is there, yes, thank you.
That's what you're
That's a
talking about.
simple word that I
Looking
should
for
have.
the foundation, whether or
Yeah,
not
you
that
would
has to go.
remove the foundation and fill it
Okay, I just couldn't figure out in my head what you were doing.
in. Yes. You don't want that basement because you wind up with an indoor swimming pool.
Well, that's what I was, I got all that, but I
And
didn't know
the
what
clients
you
might
got.
like an indoor swimming
I
pool.
didn't know how you got to the next
You
step.
probably have some fish and other wonderful creatures in there at the house. Sorry.
Salt chlorinated.
Exactly.
I'm making inside jokes about other applications. Okay. Go ahead.
The rest of the drawings are basically other elevations of the building, which are clarifying the same points. This is the back of the building. Again, the lower level, basically the garage, open space, screened-in porch, spaces in which you can go through the building. And the upper levels are the living levels of the bedroom level. And the next slides are just the side elevations. The building is fairly narrow, and has a long length because it's a large, long site, and trying to keep it in a place where it can comfortably sit for the neighborhood. And I believe we have some renderings that probably help you see what that's like. You can sort of see how it's basically open below. There are sort of these very nice gates in some locations where we might have some kayaks and things stored, and then it's designed to be able to kind of look through it and have the neighborhood enjoy the water, as well as allow water and things that might happen in the storm to kind of come through just on its own. But again, that level we break away and have flood vents as well as indicated in our drawings that we have. And the next drawing is also the same idea from the building. And otherwise, I think we're in compliance with all the requirements that's requested by the village and the local HOA.
Okay, so there's a fair amount of stuff. And it might be most efficient to sort of take this in bites, and because I'm not sure who's going to address what, and I don't want to, we're at some point we're going to swing around to wetland and environmental stuff, and I know you've got your consultant here who I recognize sitting in the room, but I think it's no surprise to anyone that because of the flood sensitivity of this village and this location, that we sort of have to start our inquiry with policy 11. And after a lot of applications recently have raised policy 11 issues, I think everyone who sort of follows our work sort of has a lot of insight into how we think about it. So I don't think I'm going to say anything. It's going to be all surprising to the applicant team. We have to think about policy 11 says we're supposed to make sure that both that we're not allowing people or property to be sited in harm's way. I've made no secret before that I think we treat those two things a little differently. Property is property, and we impose reasonable boundaries on what can be sited in a dangerous area. I think we sort of got it. At least I understand where the mechanicals are, and there are breakaway walls. They're sacrificial. There's no living space on that floor, with maybe one exception that we're circling around to. People is something different. I've said before that the only policy in our LWRP that we could mess up so badly that we got somebody killed would be policy 11. So we're very sensitive to making sure that people aren't sited in harm's way. And it's not a multifamily unit. It's a single family dwelling, but there's still people. And in recent years, as storm activity has gotten more serious, we've been interpreting policy 11 in part in terms of rescue capacity. So I just want to understand the record from that point of view, where we're talking about a house on a peninsula, right out on the water in a VE zone. Assuming that I'm not trying to hide the ball. You sort of understand that how I view property. Assuming we're fine with the first floor that's completely sacrificial. In a very bad event, we've got a house with all living space above 20 feet, but we've got people living in it. We have limited rescue capacity in this village. Our existing housing stock, we've come to assume, especially after Ida, will be taken up entirely. All the boats and heavy equipment that can rescue people will be spoken for. So it would make it easier for me to think about how this is consistent with policy 11 if I knew that either in even the worst storm events, the residents of the home were going to have a way to get out, or that they were going to have a way to shelter in place without a realistic need to leave, at least in those critical first hours, so that we would know that they could just stay where they are, safe and sound on their second and third floor, which are way above flood elevation, and won't need, if we take this from the point of view that the boats and heavy equipment are all spoken for, are these people going to be okay in this house? Because if they're not, they're taking a boat or a piece of heavy equipment that someone else is going to need who is not safe where they live. So in thinking about policy 11, the really important part, the not putting people in harm's way part, it really helped me to know that. Since it's so important, that's kind of the first thing on my mind when I read this application. If you want to speak to that, then we can sort of move on to other things.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think you characterized the approach to policy 11 in a very appropriate way. And I think it's a reasonable standard, and it's a standard that needs to be evaluated in terms of what the intent of the provision is and the language of the provision. And the provision, you use two terms. You used shelter in place or the ability for egress. What are the means of egress? And obviously, also your comment about if there is an inability to shelter in place for a critical first few hours, that would be an appropriate approach to development, to reconstruction, certainly over what's better than what currently exists, which does not have those abilities and does not comply with the local regulations or the FEMA regulations. So with that as the premise, you heard Mr. Keller walk you through the base flood elevations, that even the first floor is above, which is 6 feet. I'm sorry, it's 4 feet over the base flood elevation of 16. So we're at 20.3, and then you have an additional floor on top of that. So with the existing,
I think you just sold your own project short. If I understand it right, BFE here is 14. You've got the lowest external mechanicals at 16. You've got the first floor at 20. Okay, we're working off the same numbers. I agree with you that that first living floor is at an appropriate elevation, right?
which is what the existing home is, right? Putting aside the current base flood elevations of the existing home, you have a ranch home, a single story home right now. With the proposal that's before you, the first floor, the first livable floor is at 20.3. Then you have a floor on top of that. So certainly for the critical first few hours, to the extent that's necessary, family scenes can be on the second floor at a much higher elevation in a much safer situation to ride out those first few hours and let all of the additional improvements and the flooding subside, and when it's safe to go down to the first floor or another means of rescue or egress or leave the premises.
Are they going to be able to have access to at least a limited supply of drinkable water and some emergency power so that they don't feel like they're in a position where they have to leave as soon as the rain and the wind stop, but when it may not really be safe to do so yet?
I would anticipate that with certainly the heightened sensitivity around certain storm events and certainly this area and the history and some of the recent storm events that have happened in the vicinity and the problems and issues, that there would be leading up that week leading up to the storm, you go to the supermarket, all of the water is gone. So there'd be the ability to prep for those types of events.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. And I'm going to think about it in that way. So I said with one exception, all of the living areas were upstairs. And if I read the Kellard Sessions memo correctly, though, and I think I remember it from the plan, there's a bathroom at the 11-foot level. Can you do that?
When you say can you have the bathroom at that location?
Yes. I mean, I'm not sure that's I read the Kellard Sessions memo to indicate that may not be permissible under code. And I want to think about whether it's consistent, but it would also help to know if it's even code. If it's not code, something that's not code because of flood elevation issues is not going to be, in my view, consistent with policy 11. If it's strictly compliant with code, we can be more strict, but I haven't thought about how that impacts it yet.
So I had the opportunity to watch your work session from last week, and There was a comment made from Kelly Sessions that they needed to confer with the building department. We followed up today for an additional memorandum. We haven't received anything back or a determination. So we can certainly address any compliance issue to the extent it's deemed non-compliant. But in terms of the discussion that we just had, in a flood event, obviously that bathroom does not need to be utilized. There are other bathrooms on various other floors that can be utilized in that situation.
And that's helpful. And it's a bathroom, not a bedroom, right? Bedroom would raise the issue that somebody is sleeping when floodwater suddenly rises or a wave comes through. Bathroom, that's much less likely, so it's not intuitively as big a problem. But if it's not compliant with code, just sort of logically, it seems to me, if it's not compliant with code, it's hard to say that it would be consistent. So it'd be nice to have that resolved.
If it's a code issue, obviously we'll have to address it, receive some visual correspondence from the village department, which did not identify a determination of non-compliance. That's something we can certainly follow up on.
All right, and as I understand it, the always sensitive cut fill calculation, there is actually additional flood storage. There's a net cut here, not a net fill.
Correct.
Okay. I think that's what I had on the floodplain policy stuff, not counting erosion, which is sort of a separate set of issues. I'm going to send it around the horn if anybody else does. Commissioner Lusk, George. Sharon. Okay. All right. I think we've asked what we need to ask about the flood safety issues. It's probably environmental and erosion up next, which I think means you're probably handing the mic to your consultant from Evans Associates.
Good evening, Beth Evans, Evans Associates. Here.
Good evening. Good to see you in person again.
Nice to see you all in person. This is a situation where, without even trying, if you will, the applicant has significantly reduced the impervious areas on this site. When I first got on board, I went to see the site and I just couldn't believe that there was that much hard surface between the seawall and the house. So this proposal not only reduces that impervious area by slightly over 7,000 square feet, but it replaces it with trees, shrubs, and perennials that are appropriate for the coastal environment and will enhance the buffer such as it is, since there's a mortared seawall there. Now, we feel that this is certainly a significant site improvement with the addition of stormwater management on top of that. I think there is nothing but good that will come out of this. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
That's very helpful. And if I were speaking on behalf of the applicant, I would almost always sort of default to talking about how the proposed condition is better than the current condition, and of course you do. Just sort of for the public and other applicants, while it's impossible not to compare and talk about why it's better than the current condition, we have to sort of translate in our brains to the binary format that the LWRP imposes. Things are either consistent with policy or not consistent with policy. Almost always, it's easier to find things consistent if they're better than what's there now, but they're not always conceptually entirely the same. And I'm not telling you that because you said anything wrong. I'm just saying that so that sort of the public that are the beneficiaries of what we do can understand how we think about this stuff. If I read the plans right, the end of the seawall is sort of in the middle of where the old basketball court was. And so there's a portion where currently it's flowing just from the basketball court out over the end of the lawn to the beach. Do I have that right?
I don't believe so. I believe the seawall is elevated from the entirety of the site.
Can we pull up the site plan?
Not on the architecturals, right? It's separate. Hold on one second.
entirely possible. I've misremembered this.
Would it be under the engineering plans,
Or the landscape plan.
landscape? Is that helpful? Is that it?
Or the next plan.
Next one.
I have a copy.
Oh, you know what? I see where the seawall is marked though. That,
Yeah, I have
you're
a
right, it's
copy of the
continuous.
survey here, if that's helpful. The seawall
Yep.
does go across the entire face of the property.
I see it now. I must have been looking at the intersection of Brookline. I see now that it's continuous. Okay, go ahead, continue.
So the other thing that often this commission asks for is an opinion of whether the proposed project would have any adverse impacts on the environment. And in this case, there are no adverse impacts proposed or even anticipated. The seawall, as I say, is a mortared seawall, and it has been in place since the 1960s. Any activities, erosion, potential on the land side of the seawall, at a minimum, the seawall would stop that material from entering the sound, and a full erosion and sediment control plan has been developed. So
All of the water flows from the proposed condition to the ocean side are going to be slower and more diffuse than they are under the present condition, right?
correct.
Okay, so there's nothing that's there that would be scoured out by a change in the flow pattern.
No, and in fact, it's the flow path today has no water quality treatment associated with it. It is all direct overflow into the sound. In this instance, we're proposing a stormwater management plan that proposes water quality improvement.
There are some notes from Kellogg Sessions that I expect the applicant team hasn't had time to respond to yet, and I'm sure you saw them. One is that the discharge rates are not specified. That'd be helpful to know. Talking to the wrong expert. Ms. Evans, thank you. I should probably ask if anybody else has questions that are directed to the environmental consultant. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Michael Stein with Hudson Engineering, engineers of record for the project. We did have a chance to go through and not formally respond because we're waiting for the next submission going in. But it had gone through. The comments were all relatively minor. As we brought up, the site currently is 19,700, give or take, square feet of impervious area on the site. And that's being reduced to just over 7,600 square foot reduction in impervious area. So it's a very substantial amount of impervious area that's being removed. And again, I agree. There was a solid core, the amount of impervious area along the seawall was very substantial. But what we're doing as part of our design is we're directing all the runoff from the patios, the driveway, the roofs, portions along the front are being directed to an infiltration type system. We actually were able to get a good percolation rate and adequate depth to lead rock and or groundwater. And along the rear of the property, we're proposing a rain garden being put in, which that will connect to the existing drains that pass through the seawall and provide a water quality. So really our calculations going through, we're primarily looking at providing water quality treatment since we're on the sound. So it's larger than a fifth order string or DEC regs. In the existing conditions, there is no treatment. Everything is basically directly going through the seawall.
The Kellogg Sessions memo also mentions that the soil rating is a D, which indicates slow infiltration. But the PERC test is showing faster infiltration value than that, and they were kind of looking for an explanation. I just kind of don't get it.
From the NCRS, they provide different soil categories based upon the different regions. So out in the peninsula is primarily D-type soils, which are very clay, don't have a lot of absorption. So, but based upon Mr. Keller's comments, we're gonna go back, make adjustments and bring it up, because the percolation rate we got, I believe, was 0.5 minutes per inch, like a tremendous rate.
Really good.
And so our calculations actually reduced that down to a percolation rate of 30 inches per hour. So we're being more conservative in our values. But going back and adding and making these revisions in the calculations for HydroCAD, doing a pre and post analysis, with the removal of so much impervious area and having much faster percolation, soils absorb much more, it's going to be a tremendous reduction in the rates of runoff coming from the site, especially with the practices that we're implementing.
Okay, and that you I'm sure saw the comment to include a bypass with the other two pipes, like for piping. Yeah.
Like I said, my office has already made the changes from when we received this. It's just didn't make sense to bring that in and show you something that you haven't seen before.
Right. Okay. So I think I've got my head around that. Randy?
I think if you address these issues, sounds good.
Not a problem.
George? Jack?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I tend to be asking like these basic questions. So who looks at the seawall first? I mean, how does the seawall get examined as part of this to make sure that it's okay?
I think Michael just wanted to make that again. The seawall, in order to figure out DEC jurisdiction, we need to show that the seawall has been in place since before the tidal wetland regulations came in the 1970s. DEC looked at aerial photographs dating back into the 60s. This seawall was present, and in fact is present, I think, along most of the homes on the south side of Flagler Drive. The seawall was present in its current condition and location back in the 1960s. Having been on the site, we didn't see any reason to touch the wall. So that's sort of one of the threshold. If we need to touch the wall, then DEC gets involved, and Army Corps gets involved. Things get a lot more
Right,
complicated.
that's my understanding. That's why I was asking. I just
Right.
didn't. So it's just not part of the conversation.
Right, in this instance, on this property, it's not part of the conversation because it is intact and old enough to be before their regulations. It's not only intact, it's got large stone shoreline right below it. So it's got energy dissipation, then you've got the seawall, then you've got the problem.
And the applicant had Race Coastal Engineering, consultant of this commission is very familiar with, examine the wall, and there was no modifications that were necessary.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, that was really all I was. So just last piece of that. So now you're gonna have more runoff. Through the seawall.
No, there's actually be a reduction.
It should be less. It should be less because it's the surface.
Oh, it absorbs more, so
Correct.
then
Correct.
the actual runoff is less.
Yes.
Got it, okay. I'm thinking it goes down and out.
No,
No,
there's
it
a very,
absorbs.
very large reduction in impervious area because that basketball court, which is a slab of concrete, is
Right.
going out and being replaced by pervious surfaces so that the land can do its job of dissipating the water.
So as you review the coastal assessment narrative that we provided as it relates to policy 12, goes through all of the things that we're doing that are a benefit, not just highlight for the record, if that's good, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, we have natural protective features, including wetlands, trees in the area. Proposed reconstruction doesn't include the development, if any, such of those features. The seawall, as we just discussed, surrounds the entire border of the property and where the proposed developments are There's going to be a decrease in the rate of runoff. There's reducing the overland stormwater flow that leaves the property, so that'll reduce the potential for any downstream areas to be eroded. We have the full treatment of the water quality from the volume from the site, which was discussed. Filters, further contaminants from the runoff. We talked about the rain garden. And the one thing we didn't provide for you verbally this evening, and maybe Mr. Fusco can come up and just walk you through some of the landscape improvements to the property, because it's pretty significant. Not only with the reduction of the impervious surface areas, the removal of the concrete basketball court, but certainly I think this application should be commended for the extent of the landscaping and the benefits that are going to be provided by that.
Well, that does occasion one remark, which is the coastal assessment form is a starting place for analyzing each of the policies. It is really helpful for us to have one that provides a more complete narrative, especially around the things where we might have the most questions. Other applicants should know coming in, it's also good for the applicant because it's the applicant's chance to speak first and frame the discussion around any issues that they think we might have questions about, instead of sort of trying to check the box. Providing a complete narrative starts the conversation, spots the issues, and gets ahead of it. I find it very helpful to read a very complete coastal assessment form narrative on the issues I'm worried about, instead of having something that just sort of says it's okay in 2 sentences. In that regard, Cuddy and Feder have a practice of sort of doing very complete coastal assessment form narratives. As chair, I find that helpful. Thank you.
Before Louis starts, if I may just, we were talking about runoff and your question. If I just add one thing, there's a significant amount of plant material going into this site. Relatively few plants coming out to accommodate the house. A lot of plants going in during the growing season. Those plants also take up a tremendous amount of the water that will fall during regular precipitation events into the soil and be taken up and transpired by the plants. So just on a water balance point of view, during the growing season, when we have some of the most severe storms, this site will be a better infiltrator and transpire of water. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Louis Fusco, landscape architects. It's going to take up on that point. If we could just bring up the landscape plan, and as Beth indicated, we are eliminating 6 trees though on the property. None of the largest main trees are being salvaged, but we're adding an additional 14 trees, deciduous, and an additional 21 evergreens, as well as an incredible palette of plant material. We have, if you can scroll down to the second plan, the third plan there. These we can stop on those plans first, just showing which we've gone over, I think, at the last meeting, the CL line and what everything is that has been discussed about how much of the hardscape. Fortunately, I've had wonderful clients and great architect with Robert when I saw the plans. Met with the homeowners, they were very receptive to the fact of realizing that the negative of the hardscape all against the seawall and the entire rear of the property essentially was impervious. They were open to this creation of a landscape plan where we've given in that sort of lighter green area a more minimal lawn play area, but all of the hatched areas are massings of native plantings, where our entire palette is of native plantings, which are not only, as you've heard probably time and time again now, we're trying with climate change and everything, native plants are going to do better in this climate, as well as soil tolerant plants, things that are going to survive, that are going to work their way down into the soil, help for better penetration in if any of these soils are poor soils to begin with. The rain garden that we spoke about, that Michael spoke about, is planted out also, so that all of that water that does go into there will be filtered into the roots of the plants. They absorb a lot of the different nitrogen and different elements that are coming into there. We've minimized, at this point, we minimized from over 5,000 square feet in the CHOT area down to about 500 square feet. So we've taken out 900 square feet of, and have planted that entire area with sedges and grasses and perennials and shrubs. And there's quite a bit of a palette of plantings throughout. All along, trying to maintain, Robert's beautiful photo of the house with those areas that flow through, to try to keep that view sheds out through the house, and keeping things low in that area, but just sort of complementing the architecture with sort of modern approach to the landscape, but with all native and natural plantings. The hardscape, we minimize driveway and all to keep and reduce the space as much as possible. And in recent plans, since the last plan that we presented to you in September, the spa has actually moved into the structure of the breezeway area there, so we can put some things further out of the buffer areas. And I don't know if there's any questions per se on the landscape plan at this point.
Landscape questions? No, I mean, other than, I mean, I could throw you a softball about the fixative effects of the trees on any, less hardy soils, but I mean, I sort of directionally get how that goes. More, adding trees, even though we're losing some of the existing trees, adding trees is going to add root systems that keeps the soil where it's supposed to be. I could formulate that as a softball question, but I'm not actually worried about it. So, okay. So I think I've heard what I need to about landscape. I guess the last thing that's thank you. The last thing that's on my mind that we haven't really talked about is the construction process itself. Now, in some environments, like right up against the river or in somewhere sensitive like Delancey Cove, we might be very concerned that soil or anything else in the construction process that washed into the water during in a flood prone lot would be a problem. But here we're really just right up against the sound, which of course is a lot more tolerant to that. Ms. Evans, is there anything I should worry about during the construction process that would have to be safeguarded against washing into the water, given that the sound is a lot more hardy than some of our other water environments in the village?
No, just the short answer to your question. The potential for erosion on this site, the site is essentially flat. So there's not a slope, there's not a riverbank. And as I've said, and I apologize for repeating myself, there's a moored seawall with very small openings for drainage. Those openings can be easily controlled during construction to make sure that even though it's Long Island Sound, nothing is passing into it from the site.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. I think we've probably discussed everything that I knew I needed to discuss. Other commissioners?
No, I'm good.
Just a comment on this one, I think, because maybe it's helpful for our applicants, some of these applicants and future applicants. I felt that I don't know if you should be commended for the extensive landscape work, but I felt that the application was, from what I saw, it was very complete and at a very good quality, supporting a pretty interesting and attractive design as well. And it was quite easy for us to assess and ask these kind of questions. I thought applicants might need to know what are the standards that which they have to meet in order to submit an application that can go pretty quickly.
Yeah, and we really do try to be as transparent as possible about what our how we interpret the policies, what the standards we apply are, so that future applicants are not guessing and can come in with something. It's I think it's the hallmark of a good applicant team that sort of council can marshal them and say, let's answer all the questions first. It's really helpful to come in knowing that the policies we're going to ask questions about, we have the first draft of an answer already in the application. And in that regard, it's really helpful. It's a big project, but we've sort of flown through the discussion because a lot of it was already addressed in writing and our questions were pinpoint and not sort of broad, well, what do we do about this? I mean it when I say floodplain safety keeps me up at night. So I want to leave the applicant team with the thought that the only thing that ever sort of makes me really pause and go, am I doing the wrong thing here? Is floodplain safety. We do need to make sure that we're never adding to the rescue capacity of the village at this point. If we didn't know that before Ida, we know that after Ida. Can't add to the rescue capacity of the village. So we had a little bit of a discussion about shelter in place. It's helpful to know that the residents are going to be able to stay there through the first 24 hours while other people are being rescued in the kind of nightmare events that we never want to see again, but know that we will in this village. Other than that, the questions have been pretty specific. I think the team's got their notes about what they want to address, and it's a limited amount of stuff that we need to complete the record before we vote.
Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, if I could just beg your indulgence with regard to one aspect of the application. And thank you for your comments. It's a credit to this team that has appeared before this commission and certainly knows their craft, if you will. But you can see the approach that was taken with regard to this application and trying to be responsive to the requirements of peer review, the regulations, the LWRP, and certainly the sensitivity to the site in an area. There's one aspect that we'd like to run by you if we can, and it's with regard to the pool. As you can see, the existing pool location is located in the buffer. It's located partially within the CHOP. We've contemplated a relocation of the pool to bring it further away from the seawall and further outside the CHOP. And we'd like to run that by you because if it's something that if you agree with our team's approach, we'd like to make that modification to the proposal, and obviously we need to go back to the DEC, but didn't want to engage the DEC in that question until we ran that by you. So,
well, I mean, briefly, I can sort of tell you how I think about it, which is it's not in a position where we're worried about it structurally because of the site. It's not in a position where the water that's near it is a sensitive body that would be harmed by the contents. And you're not talking about adding impervious surface to the lot, and you're not talking about moving it farther towards the seawall, you're moving farther away. So nothing about what you said to me so far makes me concerned about that. And I can't speak for other commissioners, but that's how I'm thinking about it.
We don't have it on the screen yet because it hasn't been sent, so I just want to show you. And basically, this just came about the more and more our clients were looking at the project. In the beginning, our whole intention was to maintain the existing pool. The existing pool has an odd angle. They're concerned that they wouldn't be able to put an automatic cover on it if they're away and things of that nature. So this would pull it out of the CHA. We would actually remove another 500 square feet from the CHA area. Like the rest of the landscaping would follow in the.
So, I mean, the only downside to that would be that it's more construction.
It's more remove.
More demolition.
Right, more remove, more work, more
More
disturb.
demo.
But on the other hand, this, on another lot, right, in a place where the nearby area was very sensitive and easily impacted, I could see how that might create a problem. On this lot, I'm not seeing why that would be a particular problem. Does anybody have follow-up questions about that?
Yeah, would you be pulling the mechanicals in? Where do they go?
The pool equipment would stay generally in the same location that it is right.
Okay, just thinking.
I almost
I
looked
couldn't
at it,
tell.
if this was a site that we're looking at de novo, or would you prefer the location within the CHA, or would you prefer it out of the CHA? So by removing the existing pool, yes, we are doing some removal and some work that's within the CHA. At the end of the day, it's going to be an overall benefit. So again, we're trying to be sensitive in our approach and reasonable, and we wanted to run that by you. I've seen a lot of nodding, so we will likely be modifying the application. So when it comes back to you, when we file a supplemental submission, we will likely have that will be located. We will need to go back to the DEC as well, but I thank you for your indulgence.
Yeah, and Counselor, as you know, the reason that we checklist other authorities is because every once in a while, some other authority will make an applicant make a change to the plan. Sometimes those changes can be big or impact our policies in some way. So we don't like to vote on consistency until we know the plan is what it is finally. I'm not seeing any problem with that. We don't stand back here, right? If we saw a concern, we would raise it early so the applicant has the opportunity to provide us more information or change plan. I'm not seeing a problem with that. If the DEC makes you change something, then we'll have to see what they do.
I actually think it's a better idea to move the pool. So,
Don't you think?
or, I mean, the further away you're getting from
Yeah.
the seawall, the better. So
Yeah.
I,
It also grounds it
favor-
out better.
it
to the
does.
house.
and the reduction of the impervious area, I think it's a good idea.
All right, then I think we've gotten as far as we can with this application tonight, and I look forward to seeing you at a future meeting where hopefully sometime very soon you'll be getting your vote.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your feedback and best wishes for happy holiday.
Thank you,
Okay,
too.
folks. A few minutes to clear out.
For that particular area, I started off. So, and that's not bad.
I like to say that we're not the style council, so I don't express opinions that are clearly out of my lane, right?
Right, right, right.
I mean, it's slow. Like for that minutes.
Can't look at this stuff without thinking. Just said, it's like something's better looking than other things.
Okay. We have a second applicant up tonight, and it's 921 Soundview. If the applicant team wants to take the podium.
Chairman and board members, my name is Vinny Mastromarco. I'm from Nexus Creative. We are the architects for the project on 21 South Green Drive. We are proposing a one-family house with a pool on a half-acre lot, approximately half-acre vacant lot, that is. And
Same thing, yeah.
start my review of some of the process that we've been through. I just kind of wanted to go over what we've been through, how professionally we've been through these steps. And so we started this project back in March of last year. Met with the village and went through the process of getting to planning board and meeting with you guys. And everything that we see on our application has turned towards the pool and for stormwater management. So I think we've answered all the comments that AKRF has requested, and as the board has requested as well. I know that we spoke about a walkthrough on site, which I don't know if that has occurred yet or not.
So I wanted to address that. The original impetus for the site visit, and we don't always do them. It's only when sort of we decide that the site calls for it. I was the original impetus for a site visit, and I thought it was because appreciating the steepness was important to making determinations that were essentially structural. I said, I think the first meeting that given the topography of the site, we had and what it backs to, which is Otter Creek, which is extremely sensitive. We had to extremely environmentally sensitive. We had to think about what was going to happen if the contents of the pool ended up at the bottom of the creek. And working with our consultants, I came to understand that I should be more worried about the structure of the pool than about the contents of the pool, but that's essentially the same problem. But the application is now changed, and we've got a pool on grade level, which doesn't raise the same sort of issues. I was the original proponent of the site visit. Everybody's busy. We don't do them if we don't need to. And I don't want to prejudge any other commissioners' thought on this, but I've been thinking since we saw the modifications at the work session that I don't think I need that anymore. I'm not going to prejudge that. If other commissioners think they still want a site visit, I'm fine with that, but I'm not pushing for that anymore.
Agree with you. Please.
I'm fine.
I walk my dog over there all the time. So
You know
I'm
what it
familiar with it.
Okay, I don't, I think we can dispense with the site visit. I think having taken the pool to ground level resolves that. We're fairly far down this road. The application changed a bit. You've answered a lot of questions. I said at the work session, and probably you had somebody from your team listening in. I said at the work session, sort of the last thing on my mind was that I wanted to make a record that in this position, in this location, the added impervious surface on grade caused by moving the pool to grade level wasn't something silly that we were going to regret. And I still would like to have Kellogg Sessions chime in on that. I know we've got John with us this evening. There are also several comments that are other than sort of comment addressed that are more ambiguous. And I want to make sure that we fully understand that all the stormwater comments have been addressed. Those are the things that are on my mind to get done before we have a complete record.
Well, Alan Fitch, civil engineer, that has been working with Kellogg Sessions as well. And I mean,
That's great.
More to it, but I don't see a lot of impervious surface there. It's actually the same size pool and it's a deck, so it's open, it's gravel underneath, but again, I'll
Yeah.
have to speak to that.
And I mean, that's really a question for John Keller. John, you have your audio on?
Yes, hi, good evening.
Yeah. Pardon me if this is a silly question. But I need to understand what I need to have the record. By moving that pool from above grade level to grade level, are we creating a problem with absorption that we're going to regret that we did later, or is it just not something we ought to worry about?
The applicant's engineer always included the pool as an impervious surface.
Okay, that's a very helpful.
In the calculations, and it's being mitigated within the stormwater system.
That's helpful. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Pilch. At this point, without speaking for any other commissioner, I'm really checklisting the remaining open items on Kellogg Sessions memo of November 10th. The answer to, these aren't numbered paragraphs, it makes it a little bit, the answer to one is a little complex. It's about being compliant with the 3-foot minimum separation to the impervious layer, the bedrock or otherwise, on the slope. Do you want to walk me through the comments to that?
Good evening, Alan Phillips to help you. With regard to, first of all, it's within this New York State Stormwater Management Design Manual. That's a requirement of a 3-foot separation between an infiltration facility and a restrictive layer, which in this case is bedrock. That was done through on-site testing, where we found 4 feet of soil down in bedrock. What we have done is actually amend the plan. There's a plan that I forwarded to Mr. Keller this morning. What we did previously, we had Caltech 100 chambers, which are 12.5 inches in height, and they were set up as within a stormwater management facility that was tiered, if you will. going down the slope where the chambers are actually going to be located. What I did is actually amend it to the what's called the Caltech C4 HD chambers, with their 8.5 inches tall. So what that does is allows you to amend the plan and not have a situation where the stormwater management design manual says the top quarter of the facility of the stormwater chamber or dry well, the way it's written, cannot be within fill. So, you know, essentially 3/4 of the chamber has to be in native soil, and the top quarter can be in fill. And it was amended to make sure that that situation was adhered to. And that's what I forwarded to Mr. Keller. I don't know if he had a chance yet to take a look at it or has a comment about it, but that was one of the changes that was done. So the chambers were changed from Caltech C100 chambers to the C4 HD chambers. And that's what was submitted. And also the stormwater management report was updated to reflect that. It does show that the with these shallower depth, if you will, chambers, that the water quality volume is being completely captured and treated within the chambers. And in addition, that the peak rate attenuation that was written in the stormwater management report previously is still being accomplished through the design.
And John, have you had a chance to look at what was submitted today, the increased chamber size?
I didn't have the chance to look at it in detail. I saw that Alan had revised the type of chambers. I'll go through it in the next couple of days, and I'll be glad to discuss it with Alan. But we're talking inches of, it's a very fine line. I mean, it's whether it's compliant or not, we're talking a matter of inches here.
Okay.
And the difficulty is because you're trying to place these chambers on a sloping ground, and you don't have a long linear length to them. So it becomes a bit difficult to make all the conditions of the design manual work.
Okay.
But the system is designed to properly mitigate the stormwater runoff from the site. It's just making it fully compliant with the design manual.
All right, that's a helpful answer. I think there are a couple other things, but they're not. The other stormwater comments are just things that they're not things that trouble me. They're things that I want to make sure that we have the record from our consulting engineer are fully compliant. So there's not much point talking about them. You have a few bases to touch with the stormwater system. Other than that, there's nothing else that I can tell you that I need for the record. I think I understand where we are with this pool. I think the concerns that I had about it are past. And I think that we are now down to just stormwater issues. As far as how I'm going to cast my vote, we're down to just stormwater issues. And I think you're working effectively with Keller Sessions to address all of those. So I want to go into my vote having a complete record, knowing the system is fully compliant with what you're required to do there, because it's a steeply sloping site and it backs to someplace, watershed that's very sensitive. I want to make sure my record's complete. But I think other than addressing the remaining issues on the Keller Sessions memo, I've got what I need on this application. Other commissioners? Jack? Good. George? Good. Sharon?
Quick question. I believe that your comment, I believe this, you state that conformance with the design manual is difficult when proposing multiple row mitigation systems on sloping sites with shallow depth to bedrock. I take it, despite the difficulty, what you're proposing is in conformance. Is that
Yes,
right?
very much so.
Okay,
You know, so I've done these designs before where you have to adjust it to the topographical
right.
conditions on the property. And yes, it is in full conformance with it, with the stormwater management design manual, in the sense that, you know, it does have the required separation between the bottom of the chamber and the restrictive layer. And it also provides for the placement of the chambers within native soil material. So it does accomplish that. In addition, it does provide for the peak rate attenuation as required and capture the water quality line without even any regard to infiltration. And you know, when we did the actual percolation rate testing on the property, we had very good percolation rates. So the soil is a sandy loam, it's very pervious. So when stormwater enters that, it will just go into the soil and be treated. That's what that-
I mean, in concept, speaking for myself, in concept, you seem to be there. It's, but because of the sensitivity of stormwater in the village, I mean, you know where we are, right? Because of the sensitivity of stormwater as a matter of our institutional obligation, it's hard for me to say we could vote on it without having our consulting engineer final on the compliance of the system. But you know, we're also trying to be transparent. I've kind of told you where I think I am. I'm not hearing further questions from other commissioners either. We're going to drop the requirement for a site visit. I think upon you know reflection based on the change in the pool. We don't need that. We're not gonna make you jump through hoops that are not complete. However, I think we need to bring you back to be done on the analysis of the stormwater system. Other than that, we're not expecting anything different from the applicant. We just want to be completely done on the analysis of the stormwater system.
I have one question. If any from that extent, can we go back to planning board now, or do we have to wait for your full approval?
It's up to planning. I mean, if planning were okay with saying we know where this is going, and they want to put it on, I can't make them do that. And I can't tell you whether they will do that. I certainly wouldn't advise them against it. I think, you know, we all see the finish line. But my experience has been that they're reluctant to do that.
We just don't want to drag it out another month, but
You could send us, if you want to send a memo over, it's Brittany to me. I can forward it to planning to let them know, you know, where you're at and see what they say. They do meet twice a month, so there's a chance, you know, it could kind of go around the same time. But you can send a memo. We can attempt. Some people have, but most of the time, because they want to move forward as well, they're going to want to wait for that resolution.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, we will have a resolution ready for signature night of, with, you know, we should know ahead of the next meeting whether Keller Sessions believes all of its issues are closed. And if they are, we'll show up with a resolution ready to sign next time. You know, I never like to prejudge a vote, but I have all the information I need. I think I'm hearing from the other commissioners that once Keller Sessions is signed off, they will have all the information they need. So we'll have a resolution to propose, and if it passes, it'll be signed that night so that you can move forward as quickly as possible. You know, they are generally reluctant at planning to do that without the resolution. You can try. I'm not telling you not to try.
Can you also just provide our office with a copy of whatever you send to John directly, whatever the finalized plan is?
Yes.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
Chair Ward, I have a question as well. So with site conditions and how the water storage is proposed currently, if there are any site changes while digging and there
Your audio
Sessions.
just,
would you cue that to come back to your board for review, or will that be done just by sessions?
now, you know, no one's proposed a conditional here, and when we do conditionals, that we try to make sure that they're strictly on objective and verifiable facts. I think once we vote a resolution on the plan as proposed, if there's a difference to the, if there's a difference in soil condition, that goes to Keller Sessions. If they're going to change the system, that's a little, if they're going to change the system, that's a little different. That's a good question. I have to think about that. We may need this to be, because they can't just change the system on the fly. We sign off on a stormwater system, it needs to be the system. If they change it, I think they're out of compliance with our resolution.
I agree. That's why I'm bringing it up.
No, thank you for prompting that, because as I think my way through it, no, we're voting a resolution on a system as designed and signed off by the engineer. That doesn't give the engineer, we're not delegating to the engineer the ability to change it on the fly. We're taking the engineer's advice and signing off on the system. They would have to come back if there's a material change due to conditions found when doing the construction work. They keep proposing the system.
It was designed based on. That's.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks that's particularly likely, but Dennis is also trying to make sure that, for institutional reasons and, everybody's understanding, we think through these things before we sign.
It might be helpful if we put something like that also in the resolution, so it stays with the file. If in the event during construction that does happen, everybody in the building department has that to go back to.
That's a good point. And we'll make
Great.
sure
That's
the
great.
resolution is prepared with that in mind. Thank you. Okay, that's about all we can do tonight. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, as the last applicant team files out, we do not have administrative items on our agenda. That's all the business we have, unless Commissioner wants to raise something else. Hearing none, I will move to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Meeting is closed.
So purely curiosity, how often does a proposer come in with a change that wasn't asked for? You'd be surprised. Yeah, it happens. I thought it was really smart. I just was curious that they did it without a discussion. So
These changes make me a bit nervous, when I see people changing there. I said, is there anything else we haven't really put our finger on? And
Good night, everybody.
Right, Brittany.
Good night.
Good night, Brittany.
Good night.